7 days in orbit, the Space Shuttle Endeavour should be back on the ground in about 3 hours from now. That's a little earlier than originally planned because the weather is expected to deteriorate near Florida's Kennedy Space Center. Endeavour's crew spent the day relaxing after an exhausting series of repairs to the Hubble Space Telescope. NASA's hoping the mission's apparent success will demonstrate that building a space station is feasible.
Two Russians did not get a chance to cast their votes today. Cosmonauts aboard the orbiting Mir space station told Master Control they were upset. No provisions were made for them to cast their ballots. Just who did vote in the Russian elections?
Astronauts are counting down the last couple of hours in space before touchdown in Florida.
The Space Shuttle Endeavour is scheduled to make its Florida landing in just a couple of hours. The crew logged a record 5 spacewalks during their 11-day mission to fix the Hubble Space Telescope's blurry vision. CNN's John Holloman joins us now with the very latest. John.
Gene, hi. The Endeavour astronauts have closed the cargo bay doors on their shuttle. They're flying at 17,000 miles an hour toward the west coast of Central America. In fact, they're over western Mexico right now. Let's take a look down at what's going on at Mission Control at the Johnson Space Center in Texas. As you look at that picture, you'll see a lot of people breathing a sigh of relief because everything's going well. If nothing happens, nothing changes, 45 minutes from now, Commander Dick Covey will fire the shuttle's engines to bring the spaceship home. That engine firing will slow Endeavour's speed by about 500 feet per second, and that will be enough to drop it out of orbit. The astronauts are landing in the middle of the night in Florida, but they will get a big welcome after their successful mission. The truth is, they made history. The spacewalking teams of Story Musgrave and Jeff Hoffman and Kathy Thornton and Tom Akers proved it's possible to spend 35 hours in spacesuits and do all the useful work required to complete a major construction or repair job.
Story pH is on. It's double-checked tight. All 4 boats. I think it's all ready for KT to close out the bay.
The astronauts did the expected, like changing failed gyroscopes and magnetic monitoring equipment,
The door is opening by itself.
to the unexpected, including repairing the door that protects those gyros, forcing a stuck solar panel into place, and manufacturing protective covers for leaking telescope equipment. Among the Endeavour crew's greatest hits, removing a warped solar panel and throwing it overboard.
Almost like a burner, Tom. Look at it.
Replacing the telescope's main camera with a new model with better detectors and a corrective optical system. Removing a little-used instrument and replacing it with a box full of new optically ground lenses that are supposed to clear the telescope's out-of-focus vision. When the spacewalking mechanics and optometrists finished their work, the telescope was lifted off the orbiting workbench and released into space to continue its work. And the crew got a phone call from the president.
You made it look easy.
It'll take about 3 weeks for the first pictures to reach the ground and about 6 weeks for the first in-focus images from Hubble to come into public view. But the hope of scientists around the world is that the telescope will be able to take pictures of distant planets almost as clear as the pictures of Earth beamed back from Endeavour's cargo bay. Now, Brian, the landing is scheduled for 12:26 Eastern Time, about 2 hours from now at the Kennedy Space Center landing strip in Florida. After the landing, the astronauts will spend a few minutes inside, but we'll watch the whole thing, the whole landing sequence here on CNN beginning a few minutes before the 10:26 landing time.
Okay, thank you very much, John. Look forward to that.
Endeavour is expected to return to Earth a little more than an hour from now. The shuttle is in its final orbit now and is currently over East Africa on its way home. The shuttle and its seven astronauts are to land at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. During 5 spacewalks, the crew made repairs to the Hubble Space Telescope. It will not be known for at least 6 weeks whether the repairs worked. CNN International will bring you live coverage of Endeavour's landing. The final hour in orbit, the U.S. Space Shuttle Endeavour is over the Pacific Ocean, headed towards Mexico and the U.S. for a landing in some 25 minutes. Shuttle Endeavour is making its descent to Earth. At any moment now, we expect the shuttle to land at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And we turn to CNN's John Holloman for live coverage of this event.
We're about 8 miles threshold at this point. Good views continuing to come in from the infrared cameras.
The following is CNN's coverage of a live event.
Hi, it's John Holloman. The Space Shuttle Endeavour is in its final approach for landing on runway 15 at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It's been in orbit. You can see this is a picture taken from an infrared camera. And just a couple of moments ago, the shuttle was still glowing white hot from all the the atmosphere it had to burn through to get down for a landing. The shuttle's been in orbit for 10 days, 20 hours, and a few minutes now. It's scheduled to land in 90 seconds. The shuttle has traveled 4,433,772 miles.
Now passing through 5,000 feet.
After it touches down on the runway, it'll have about another 4 miles to go out to the end of the runway in Florida. The weather has been cooperating. There you see the runway. The weather's been cooperating for the crew to bring the shuttle in for a landing, and the Florida Strip is preferred to landing at Edwards Air Force Base in California because it will allow Endeavour to be ready for its next flight much more quickly.
We're now beginning to flatten the steep glide slope, coming in for final approach and landing.
You saw the huge vehicle assembly building in Florida there, and you can see the outline of the landscape as the Endeavour, still much hotter than the surrounding air, comes in for its final approach.
Gear down and lock. And touchdown. Nose gear touchdown. Drag chutes are out. Endeavour rolling out toward its final stop on runway 33 with a nice drag chute streaming out behind.
This landing strip has huge spotlights which are turned off for the landing of the space shuttle so that Commander Dick Covey could see just the landing lights as he brought it in for final approach and landing. Those lights will be turned on shortly, and we'll be able to get a better view of the space shuttle. Endeavour's crew has had quite a mission, near perfect, according to NASA managers.
We're back.
Roger, Endeavour. Thank you for the flawless flight. We look forward to using HST, thanks to your great work, to see further into our universe than ever before. Welcome home.
Thanks a lot.
And NASA...
Convoy Commander Endeavour, how do you read?
Yeah, CDR, this is FCC. I got you loud and clear. Welcome home, and we're on our way.
Roger, we got you loud and clear.
Endeavour Houston, we have no post-landing deltas. You got to go to start on page 5-3.
Deltas in NASA speak mean problems, mistakes, things that have to be changed. And when they say no deltas, that means the shuttle is in very good shape, according to the ground control computers in Houston, which have been watching its flight for the past long period of time, nearly 12 days. The astronauts rehabbed the Hubble Space Telescope on this mission. They added a new main camera, new optical mirrors that should clear up the telescope's vision if they work. About 15 minutes ago, Endeavour was flying over Mexico City.
Endeavour touched down
Just a moment.
Precisely as planned at 11:25:33 Central Standard Time. Main gear touchdown and mission elapsed time. That would have been 10 days, 19 hours, 58 minutes, and 33 seconds. Nose gear touchdown was at 11:25:45, about 8 seconds after main gear. And wheel stop at 11:26:25. For a mission duration wheel stop of 10 days, 19 hours, 59 minutes, 25 seconds.
NASA has planned 9 shuttle flights for next year. Endeavour's next trip into space tentatively set for April 7th. The next scheduled shuttle launch will be Discovery in about 4 weeks from now. A team of astronauts will take the Spacehab module into orbit for 8 or 9 days. That's scheduled for January 20th at 6:42 in the morning, unless there's some problems. But as you can see from these infrared pictures taken from the Florida landing strip, the landing of Shuttle Endeavour seems to have been almost as picture-perfect as the rest of its mission. And we can see that it looks like some smoke and fire coming out of the back of the shuttle. This has happened once before on a shuttle landing. We'll check into that, and we'll be back with you if there's anything we should be concerned about. But according to everybody on the ground, it seems to be working very, very well. As we have for this mission and future shuttle missions, CNN will always be here with you for live coverage. John Holloman, CNN reporting.
Minutes ago, the U.S. Space Shuttle Endeavour touched down at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The crew of Endeavour made repairs to the Hubble Space Telescope during 5 spacewalks. It will not be known for at least 6 weeks whether the repairs were successful. and look at what just pulled into the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Astronauts are back on the ground after an 11-day mission to repair the Hubble Space Telescope. The shuttle Endeavour landed at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida a little over 1/2 hour ago. Endeavour's crew of 7 astronauts paid a house call to the ailing Hubble Space Telescope. They made 5 spacewalks to cure the telescope's blurry vision, but it will be at least 6 weeks before scientists can tell whether the repairs worked. And you're watching live pictures right now, and we are waiting for the 7 astronauts to leave the shuttle. And in case you're wondering why it is so dark, it's of course after 1 o'clock in the morning in Florida. And coming up on...
Headline News, I'm Dave Walker. After completing one of the most complicated missions in U.S. space history, Space Shuttle Endeavour's astronauts are back home. They touched down at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida about an hour ago. That was earlier than expected because bad weather is expected in the area shortly. Astronauts spent Sunday packing up equipment for their trip home. During a grueling 5 spacewalks, they completed extensive repairs to the space telescope Hubble. NASA says it won't know for several weeks whether the work has cured Hubble's blurred vision. Forces Laurence Cruz is back on Earth after completing the biggest repair job in space history. Space Shuttle Endeavour touched down at Florida's Kennedy Space Center 90 minutes ago. The 7-member crew spent 11 days in space to repair the Hubble Space Telescope. The historic mission included a record 5 spacewalks. Astronauts installed corrective devices that should clear up Hubble's blurred vision. The telescope was released into space Friday. NASA says it will now conduct tests to determine whether the repair job was successful. Final results won't be known for several weeks. Russian voters...
Terug op aarde. Het ruimteveer landde vanmorgen op Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Toen kwam een einde aan de missie van 11 dagen en 7 miljoen kilometer. De astronauten hebben de telescoop Hubble gerepareerd die bijziende was. Ze werkten in totaal 35 uur in de ruimte, een wereldrecord. Over een paar maanden moet blijken of de missie daadwerkelijk geslaagd is. Dat wil zeggen of de Hubble weer goed kan zien.